Once upon a time, in a quaint little house on Cherry Tree Lane in London, lived the Banks family. Mr. Banks was always busy at work, and Mrs. Banks was often out and about. That left Jane and Michael, along with their twin siblings, John and Barbara, with many different nannies. None of them ever seemed to stay for long, for Jane and Michael were quite mischievous. One day, after another nanny had left in a huff, Jane and Michael wrote their own advertisement for a new nanny. They wished for someone kind, fun, and full of magic. Little did they know, their torn-up ad would float up into the sky and be answered by someone very special. The very next day, with a gust of the east wind, Mary Poppins arrived. She wore a neat hat with a daisy on top, carried a parrot-headed umbrella, and held a large carpet bag. She looked quite ordinary, but the children soon discovered she was anything but. As Mary Poppins settled in, she unpacked her bag, pulling out the most astonishing items: a mirror, a plant, and even a hat stand, all from a bag that seemed much too small. Jane and Michael's eyes grew wide with wonder. "Spit-spot," Mary Poppins said briskly. "Time for our first outing." Their first adventure was with Bert, a jolly man who drew marvellous chalk pictures on the pavement. With a snap of her fingers, Mary Poppins whisked the children right into one of Bert's drawings. They found themselves in a colourful countryside, where they rode carousel horses and had tea served by penguins. Another day, Mary Poppins took them to visit her Uncle Albert, who loved to laugh. But this was no ordinary laughter. Uncle Albert's laughter was so powerful, it lifted him up to the ceiling. Soon Jane, Michael, and even Mary Poppins were floating and laughing along with him. Not all their adventures were magical. Some were simply full of wonder. Like the day Mary Poppins took them to the bird woman at St. Paul's Cathedral, teaching them to be kind and gentle, feeding the birds with tuppence. Mary Poppins was firm but fair, always teaching the children valuable lessons in the most delightful ways. She showed them that even ordinary days could be full of magic if you knew where to look. One evening, as Jane and Michael drifted off to sleep, they felt a warm sense of happiness. They knew that with Mary Poppins, every day held the promise of new adventures. But one day, the wind changed, and Mary Poppins knew it was time to leave. With her umbrella in hand, she floated up into the sky, leaving the Banks family forever changed. Jane and Michael waved goodbye, their hearts full of the wonderful memories they had made. And so, Mary Poppins left Cherry Tree Lane, off to bring magic and joy to another family in need. But Jane and Michael knew they would never forget their extraordinary nanny who had turned their world upside down with a spoonful of sugar and a bit of magic.